find out life's this game of inches. So is football. Because in either game, life or football, the margin for error is so small. I mean, one half a step too late or too early, and you don't quite make it. 1/2 second too slow, too fast, you don't quite catch it. The inches we need are everywhere around us.
Welcome into the Gibson Fantasy Football Podcast. Hello. Got two lovely gentlemen with me here today.
How we doing?
Woo-hoo. Good. As always, A-Aron rocking his black uniform.
It's a little tight. I've definitely put on the pound since last season, so it's tight.
You got a different off-season workout regimen than the pros. And our man Conan back to jump in with us and spend some time.
Excited to be back on. Obviously, one of the first guest appearances I did was with you back, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, whenever that was, and had a lot of fun. So it's been in the works. It was bound to happen.
Yeah, you'll be one of our go-tos, man. We always enjoy the trivia, and not only that, the trivia might be your kind of area of expertise, but you got a lot of knowledge that you can pass on in other areas too. So it's fun to have you on.
Just love my numbers.
Numbers don't lie, right?
Absolutely.
All right. So if you're looking to hook into anything we're up to, we got Gibson Fantasy Football on the website, Gibson_FF on Twitter, and then Gibson Fantasy Football, all one word, Instagram, YouTube, Podbean, and Spotify. So today we're talking about the most prestigious event of the year, not because it's happening soon, but because it's fun to think about this time of year.
Absolutely.
And we're going to rock some Super Bowl picks. Might be some Homer picks involved in there, might not. We'll kind of see where that leads us. And then Conan's going to grace us with some wonderful trivia at the end where Aaron and I can compete again and see. I think it was pretty close last time, if I remember. I think I started out strong and then Aaron caught up to me by the end of there.
That's what I remember. I remember you definitely kind of started off real hot, and then Aaron really brought it back by the end. It was a close one, but I think you technically took it by like a few points or whatnot. But we'll see how it goes this time. I don't have a Jeopardy style game necessarily set up, but I got a few questions or a bunch of questions that you guys can kind of go head to head at, and then I got one kind of fun one that'll be like a tag team kind of challenge.
Oh, I like
Sounds
it.
Good.
Can't wait. All right. Who wants to deliver us their Super Bowl pick first and kind of give some context as to why they think that team wins? And I'll hassle you for the other team that they think they're going to beat in the Super Bowl at the same time, but you don't have to give as much context on why you think that team will get there. Either if you want to jump in, you want me to jump in, what are you guys feeling?
I feel like I already know who you're picking. You got that big flag behind you. You got the jersey on. I love that pick. So I would love to hear that one first.
Let's do it. All right. So I'll put it up. I got my NFC team in there too. I won't give as much context on that one, but so my Broncos, man, I legitimately believe we have a shot this year. And I haven't said that since Peyton Manning was on the team. So it's been a while, man. We have cycled through absolute low tier, sometimes garbage quarterbacks and usually overpaid them and overdrafted them. But this is it. So, here's my case. We were 7-10 last year, which is not a great record, but considering the starting quarterbacks we had is actually pretty half decent. And we play Kansas City, LA, and Las Vegas twice a year. So, you throw 4 of those games out the window to the Chargers and Chiefs, all of a sudden you're 7-6. That's actually not a bad year. So as a base team, we were pretty good. Vegas has us slotted in for 10.5 wins this year. So obviously we are on the rise. We added my man and my new jersey, Russell Wilson.
Let's go. Already on that new jersey. I love it.
Ready to go, buddy. Super Bowl all the way. And so here's what I'm thinking, right? So here's how I'm approaching this. I'm looking at, all right, we've got the AFC's loaded. So how are we going to differentiate between all these fantastic teams in the AFC? And so, well, Broncos are almost a lock to make the playoffs. And then you think, well, what happens once you hit the playoffs? Well, playoff experience matters, right? We've seen it year after year. Who's been there before? And so when you look at not only who's been in the playoffs, but who's ever made a deep run, right? Who's made it all the way to the Super Bowl? So there's 4 quarterbacks currently in the AFC that have ever been in a Super Bowl games. So my man Russell Wilson, obviously, Patrick Mahomes, the up and coming, arguably the future GOAT at this point, probably not over Brady, but of our current era. Ironically, Matt Ryan, who is now an Indianapolis Colt, who was kind of like the odd man out, but I was like, hey, you know what? He's been there. And then Joe Burrow, who got there last year, right? So that's it. 4 guys have ever been to a Super Bowl and have that experience. And I mean, both Joe and Matt were kind of a bit of a one-hit wonder. We'll see. I mean, the Bengals could prove me wrong on that this year, but Matt Ryan had I'm sure you'll never forget the Patriots Super Bowl with the 28.
Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. Anytime there's anytime there's a 2, an 8, and a 3, like anywhere near each other, it's like Pat's brain 28-3. Oh my goodness. And it's like, I'll never forget where I was, what I was doing. That was my freshman year of college, and there was riots on my campus after. People were trying to tear down the field goal posts on the football field. People were lighting fires in dumpsters. Oh my goodness, it was crazy.
There's got to be people out there with tattoos, man, that are rocking that.
Absolutely.
And I remember our father-in-law, which Aaron's, was like, "That's it, the game's over. I'm done," and he took off, right? And I was like, you never know, like it's Tom Brady, and then Anyway,
can't ever count him out. And it's funny because I was watching with a Falcons fan at the time, and he was talking so much crap. Of course, just so much crap. And I'm sitting there dead silent. I'm just taking it. And I'm like, come on, Tom. And what does he do? He does what he does best. He comes back and he absolutely makes my friend eat his words.
I'm hoping that a similar thing happens and my man Russ makes Aaron eat some words, because he's certainly not going to be picking the Broncos this year. No. But of the list, the 2 that have actually won a Super Bowl are my man Russ and Mahomes, right? And Mahomes had this one, but he's been to the AFC Championship 4 times. And then Russ in the playoffs, he's got 9 total wins, tied for 12th most all time. And I also believe that because he's competing in this division, and Aaron, you can feel free to steal this argument, he'll be battle tested, because I think that division is going to force you to play some tough games throughout the year. So I'm rooting for my Broncos. I believe it's possible. Those are the reasons why. And why the Bucs? Well, because I don't really have a lot of confidence in just about anybody in the NFC being better than anyone else. So may as well place my trust in Brady. So that's
when in doubt,
my story, and I'm sticking to it.
It's there's some of those stats. I don't know if you've seen them, where it's like Brady's been to the Super Bowl more times than this person's been in games or touchdowns or whatever it is. It's like every one you see, you're like, wow. It's like wow. So I love the pick.
Yeah, it's kind of automatic at that point, right? Man, why is this guy the greatest? Oh yeah, that's why. All right, who wants to jump in? Conan, A-Aron, who wants to take the lead?
I guess I could follow up on that, because it's sticking with the AFC West.
All right.
I
got Raiders, so I figured we do that much.
Definitely going with the Raiders. Unlike other years where I couldn't do this with a straight face, because there was some years where it was bad. It was really bad.
I'm so spoiled, man. I'm so spoiled being from Boston.
Do you know what? Jamarcus Russell, do you remember him from LSU?
Oh, my goodness.
He showed up to practice, and the offensive coach gave him game tape and said, hey, watch this. And he was like, yeah, okay. they come back the next day. He's like, hey, did you watch that game tape? He goes, yeah, I think we can do it. He goes, it was blank. He just gave him a blank DVD just to see if the guy would do it, and he didn't do it. So
one of the funniest stories ever. I mean, his name is definitely associated when you go to like biggest busts lists, stuff like that. So I understand that one.
So I do feel some confidence though in this team going into this season. One of the reasons I think is just building off that adversity that they faced last season, losing their head coach, John Gruden, losing obviously Ruggs going to prison for the season. I mean, those are two things, like, to overcome that and to be 6-7 at the start of December. Like, I counted them out. I was like, okay, they're not making the playoffs. They're not doing this. And then they pull off those 3 straight wins, and then the fourth one against LA was huge. So they can actually, beat some of these better teams that are out there. And they put up a good game against Cincinnati in the playoffs. It just didn't go their way. So I think, overcoming that adversity and having that experience too is going to be huge going into this next season. I think their hope is that maybe Russell Wilson won't click as well as everybody's predicting it to be. Hopefully, maybe there's a little bit of miscoordination between them and the head coach. We're fingers crossed. I don't think it will happen, but fingers crossed. Yeah, but I also like what they've done. Bringing in Josh McDaniels as a head coach. Like, I know he didn't have too great of a time. But, where was it that he was a head coach?
Indy.
Yeah, he didn't really have a great time there. But I do believe in him now. He went back, I think, got his head straight, and now he's ready to go again. And also too, another former New England guy, Dave Ziegler, is the GM. He was the scouting department for the Pats for so many of those years where they won some Super Bowls. So a good front office. They know what they're doing. They brought in the right guys. They're bigger up front on defense, where I think is going to be huge because they weren't great against the run last season. I think they're going to be a lot better against the run this season. They got what is it, like 3 guys over 300 pounds on that front line there. So that's a big line. I love it. So we're stopping the run this year. And my last thing I would say is just Derek Carr and Devontae Adams being together. I think is going to be a huge benefit for Derek Carr. And I just love Derek Carr. Like, I think he could be on any team, and he's just that guy that's like, that's a guy I want to go out with and have a beer with, because he just seems like a good dude. So that's a lot of my reasons. I wrote them down. So I went a little fast there to try to get them all in. So that's my biggest reasons. And who do I think they're going to face? I said the Cowboys only because I just would love to see the Cowboys and Raiders.
Interesting.
I think it would be pretty sweet, but I don't know. That's a tough one. It's a tough one.
I want to bring something up. You said, Josh, I think you said that it was the Indy that McDaniels went, but his first time it was your team. That's where he went as a head coach first. That he did not work out well back in 2009, 2010.
Yeah,
I think
Indy was where he
probably
took
mixing
the
it
job
up
and
with
then
Patricia
rescinded the
or
job.
whatever.
He put a little curse on them. That's what.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
you got the
I'm glad it's on your team now.
No. He got rid of all the
much improved. It's 12 years upgraded.
Okay. Yeah, you saw the magic.
No, I mean, I like the pick there as well. Obviously, Derek Carr, like you said, he's been solid. He's always a high yardage guy. It's just been the touchdowns that have been kind of bringing him down, keeping him out of, being like a really fantasy relevant or being in the talks of, some of the great quarterbacks. But, what helps with that is his college best friend and the guy that catches like 10 plus touchdowns every single year, like Luck. So, I mean, I think if he can reach the near 5,000 yards that he kind of does now and get now 35 touchdowns, somewhere around there, it's like we're looking at a great season. We're looking at, obviously, they got 3 massive, very amazing pieces on offense. It's like last year, you say you were impressed at 6 and 7. It's like they lost Waller, they lost Ruggs, they had Renfro just looking like the best wide receiver, the best route runner in the league out there. Like, he's great. He's one of my favorite players. It's like you see those highlights, and he just absolutely destroys ankles. It's crazy. So I love the pick there.
Were Brian Edwards and Zay Jones. Like that was
that's what I'm saying. Which, by the way, like those guys played well enough to go get paid elsewhere and get traded for even, which is like, so it's like, clearly they did their part. They filled in for some of those guys, but now we got Waller back. We got Renfro still there. You add a top 3, like no argument, top 3 wide receiver in the league. It's gonna, exactly. It's like
for me, right?
It's like most circles. It's like he's 1, 2, and at the very lowest, he's 3. And so, I love the pick. I think really it's the defense that's going to be the deciding factor. I know there's definitely some great pieces in there. I think what's his name, Max Crosby. Love that dude. He's he's an animal, and he's such a fun guy. He just seems like a cool dude. Yeah. But besides him, I'm not really sure how well that side of the ball at least will fare. So, I mean, I'm glad they have a very revamped offense or healthy offense, because like we talked about with the Broncos, that division is going to be just lights out. It's going to be, I'm expecting 30 plus on both sides, every game, every divisional game. It's like some of these, it's like, because it's like some of these defenses definitely got better. They are good, stuff like that. But it's like these offenses are even better. I don't care how good the Chargers, the Broncos. Well, I mean, Broncos defense is still solid. Chargers defense got way better, whatever. And it's like, there's a lot of it's going to be tough. So
you can't find another division in football where Derek Carr is the 4th best quarterback.
It's kind of like last year with the NFC West, I think, right?
Yeah.
With Arizona, because Stafford comes in to the Rams, and so I mean, it's the new loaded division. They got absolute stars coming in from different teams at all different positions, not even just offense, but defense and stuff. So I'm just so excited to see how those play out. And I think just like each of those games, I just feel like it's going to be like a playoff game. It's just like they just want to tear each other's throats out, and they just want to just absolutely rock them and just run up the score, whatever it is. So I'm super excited for that. I mean, specifically, I really like the Broncos pick. Like that, I think would have been up there. I just think it gives me like the Stafford vibes, where it's like great quarterback going to a team that just has stars, they have weapons, they have a great defense, and it's like, and we hear it all. We've heard it for 5 years at this point. Broncos are a quarterback away. All right. And I think with some of these pieces they got, obviously they've lost, they lost Von Miller, they had to trade some guys, but like, I still think it's very possible that they were, and they are 1 quarterback away. And so if Russ can do it, if anyone can do it, Russ can do it. He has the experience. Like you said, he's a top quarterback in the league. No denying it. He obviously got banged up last year, didn't play as well as he has basically every other year, but we'll kind of chalk that up to his finger coming back too early. And so I love that pick. I love that pick too. Both of these picks. I mean, I think you can make a case for anyone in your division, which stinks.
That's true.
It's so true.
But it's like I wouldn't argue or like disagree with any of those 4 teams being like, I think they're going to make it. It's like, sure, I could see it.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll move on, right? So I'm gonna talk about a little bit my hometown team, because I feel like it would have been doing them dirty if I didn't at least bring them up while you guys are kind of really hitting that Homer fandom and being like, my team's gonna win. It's like, great. I want to keep it a little bit realistic. Your guys' teams have kind of moved forward, gotten big stars. My team obviously lost the biggest star in the league and forever. And so my Patriots, I would love them to win, obviously, but I just don't see it really happening. I wanted to talk about a few things, though, where, obviously last year they drafted Mac Jones. He was arguably the best rookie quarterback last year. I think really Davis Mills was the only rookie quarterback that could give him a run for his money in any category, which is wild to say with a class of Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Trey Lance. It's like, so, I mean, that was funny, but we're going into year 2 now, and everything we hear from camp, from Bill, it's year 2 improvement. We're seeing the steps, he's made that leap, right? So, I mean, obviously love hearing that. One of the biggest things I loved seeing was they brought in, they didn't bring in Devontae, they didn't bring in Tyreek Hill, but they brought in a guy that should at least help. They brought in Devontae Parker, and sure, he's and it's like, sure, he's had one like truly good, great season in his 5-6 years, but it's a move that makes sense for a team. The guy is kind of like an alpha contested catch kind of wide receiver, big body, good body, like control. So I think on a team where you have like kind of the slot guy in Jacoby, you have like kind of the big play threat, really explosive guy in Kendrick Bourne, Nelson Aguilar, even kind of quick, twitchy Sutton guys. And I think adding someone, just a big target, someone that can definitely help in the red zone. So Devontae Parker, I think that's a great addition. He's been 21st or better in contested catch rate the last 3 years, and only one of those was his like truly great season. So clearly, even when he is in these off seasons, whatever, last year, obviously he didn't do that well, the year before as well. And it's like, he's still good at that, going up for the ball, mossing the defenders, going up and over. It's like his frame helps, and he's got the athleticism. So I love that addition for them. And it's just like, he could really cement. It's like, it's not something I'm banking on, but he could cement himself as just the overall clear wide receiver 1 on this team. I don't really think it's out of the question, because you just have 3, 4, even 5 receivers that are pretty much unproven, haven't been here forever or anything like that. And so he really has the chance to take over and just be that number 1. And that's possible. Mm-hmm. And so I think I like the offensive additions and, improvement we hopefully see from Mac. And then on the defensive side, I mean, two underrated things is we brought in Mac Wilson, who kind of has fizzled out the last few years, but he played well enough to earn a starting spot after his first year down in Cleveland. He had his best PFF overall grade last year, actually, despite playing the least amount of time. Just a need for the team at linebacker, where I just think the team just needed players. We lost a few guys in free agency and stuff like that. And then Jabril Peppers, I think, is like, I mean, that guy was a stud, and I think he'll heavily contribute. And I think the thing I like, and that I think Bill and the team really likes about him, is he's so versatile. I don't know how to pronounce that well. But, like, obviously he's a safety, but he's lined up. I don't know if you guys know this. He's lined up at cornerback. He's lined up at linebacker. He's even lined up on the line. And so, like, he can play anywhere, and he's an athletic freak, and we know that. And he had some injuries derail some seasons, fell out with the Giants, whatever, or got traded. But I think he's gonna be a key piece on the defense. Maybe he's not an every down guy, but we're gonna find a role for him, and I think he's gonna contribute on special teams as well. But yeah, so those are the cases why the Pats, they've improved. But I'm gonna keep it real. I'm not picking them to win the Super Bowl. I think we're still a few years removed from that being a real. What?
Buffalo Bills. Come on. I know it's hard for you to say.
You actually did steal it. So no I'm not hurt. I'm willing to admit it.
That's got to be tough.
It is tough, but what's not tough is admitting just Josh Allen is a beast, one, and also just like such a likable dude. Just love watching him play. I don't care that he's, in division. He's fun to watch. And like, really, the only time I'm not cheering for him is if he is playing against the Pats. Even then, I'm like, wow, that was cool. Like, so, I mean, the Bills are my pick. I mean, just like we said, with Josh Allen, I don't really think I got to talk too much about him. He's an absolute stud. I think his time is coming. He's obviously been in the playoffs. He's seen it happen. He's gotten so close. The 13 seconds. Oh my goodness.
Oh.
And so, I think he's just continuing to just develop and kind of find his place, just gain that experience. He's gaining playoff experience each year. So, I mean, it's hard to imagine him being better, but I think he's just getting the little things are just going to click more. And he's just Josh Allen, Yeah. And then the running back room, I think it's kind of funny. I'm hoping at least, I think the team kind of realize it's hey, we have Josh Allen. We don't have to just slam Zach Moss and Devin Singletary into the line even 20 times. We don't have to do that. We can just throw out the backfield, kind of like the Patriots kind of did, the last 5 years. It's the pass catchers out the backfield, that was an extension of our run game, essentially. And it's I think they should, and they hopefully are kind of moving in that direction where at the beginning of free agency, they went and they got their big pass catching back. They got J.D. McKissick, and then he had a change of heart and he went back to Washington. And so then they went out and they got their guy in the draft, and it's James Cook, the best pass catching back out of this class. And so I'm really hoping that, it's the team isn't going to pass the ball 70% of the time, but I do hope that they're not going to force anything. They're not going to force anything into, kind of a mediocre run line. And it's just, I just hope that the team realizes, oh, okay, Josh can run. We have some guys, these guys can run, but they're just kind of helping them out, just extending our running game by just being out in the flat if we need, dump it out if we need. And it's just let Josh do his magic. And if you need to help him out, you're there for him. You block that last guy coming in, whatever. It's so I really hope that's kind of the philosophy they're going toward. And it's just they were bottom 10 in running back catches and yards last year. So it's just I think they're trying to definitely improve on that. And then, wide receiver room, we got Diggs, also just a stud. I think everyone and their mother expects Gabe Davis to break out and be the next big, hot wide receiver. And I think that's funny. I mean, I will say I've been in these drafts that we do in the off season and especially in best ball. I don't know if you guys do best ball, but I've seen him go in the third round of best ball drafts. And that's a little rich. That's a little rich for my blood. Yeah. But I was surprised to see he was actually the 10th highest PFF grade as overall wide receivers. And that was higher than Diggs, who's at 12. And it's the hype is real in the sense that we're not just hyping up the 4 touchdown game and for absolutely no reason. He does have some of the measurables and the statistics, the metrics where you're okay, you can see that. But so, obviously if he booms, he booms, and that team now has 2 stud wide receivers, and how they not going to put up 30 a game and make it run in the playoffs at that point. And then, obviously Knox at tight end. Yeah. He just young, ascending, good, big red zone guy, caught up 9 touchdowns or something last year. A lot of Isaiah McKenzie and Khalil Shakir hype for the slot spot this year. We'll see how that works out. But I do think whoever does win that spot, it's a valuable role. And so obviously we talked about how I do my stats, my obscure splits. You'd be amazed how much Cole Beasley's name came up for some of these stats. I'm wow, you kind of forget about it because we're we're on to the next name, we're on to the new flashy toy, whatever. And it's this dude had the 3rd or 4th most third round receptions and yards, and it's Josh Allen really counted on Cole Beasley. And so if any of these guys can make that genuine connection, especially just out of the slot, just underneath, I think that's going to be really valuable. So we'll obviously keep monitoring that. And then I know I'm kind of going on and on, but obviously get to the defense. Defense was, good, has been good. They had kind of an off year, not this past season, but the year before they were kind of pretty bad. But they returned to just better play. They had the third most takeaways last year among defenses, and obviously big signing Von Miller. He helped the Rams a lot in the post trade. Like, he was a key figure in that defense.
Oh yeah,
among guys that already, like Aaron Donald. It's like, if you can stand out next to Aaron Donald, it's like you're pretty darn good.
yeah.
So they brought him in on a massive deal. And then you got guys like Ed Oliver and Greg Rousseau. Those guys, just like, you're looking at them to keep developing as they're still young guys learning the game. Both just expect them to keep getting better, especially with someone like Von Miller next to them. It just opens up more, I feel like. And then it's like Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, 2 top 12 safeties, according to PFF. It's like their secondary, the cornerback room could use a little help. Tre'Davious White obviously got hurt last year. And the guy that filled in mostly for him, Dane Jackson, he was actually the 82nd ranked quarterback out of like 100 and something. So not great, but they did draft Khair Elam, rookie out of Florida, cornerback, I think, and they traded up for him. So I thought that was a great pick. He should, I think, easily start at that second spot once Tre'Davious is back and healthy. He did tear his ACL kind of late, but I think it's kind of those deals where he'll be back and he should be full strength by postseason, even if he's not ready, halfway through the season. And then I kind of added it at the end, really just like, okay, I'm really pumping them up. Why wouldn't they actually, like, what could go wrong for them on a team with like just so many good things? And I think the 2 biggest things I came to was, I guess 3, I guess. So 2 positions of need, kind of linebacker, not great. They need a little bit, they could have used a little bit more help there. And then their tackle spots their guard spots. There's like no one ranked over 31st. It's like, okay, so if you need to obviously protect Josh. And then the biggest one, kind of the mystery one, is what if Brian Dable was actually way more important to Josh, to the team, than we like to think? And so we all say it's like Josh Allen like really improved with Dayball, really like teaching him, really showed him, developed him. And so everyone's saying like, oh, Daniel Jones, maybe he can make that leap. Now he's at the Giants. And it's like, all right, I'm not saying that, but what if, like, taking this guy away that made Josh Allen so good, like, that might be a bad thing. And so I'd like to see just kind of how it goes in that sense. It's like, what if we actually really underestimated how big of an impact that guy had in that locker room and on that team? So ran a little bit long, obviously, but I think I think they're the Vegas odds on favorite too. Yeah. So it's kind of chalky saying them, but I think as a Pats fan, it was so much harder for me to say it than anyone else. So yeah. I think you got to let me have this. And so, and it's like, I agreed with your guys. I don't think you guys are going to disagree that the Bills could make it. And then if I had to pick a team, I don't know. I think the Rams are still rock solid coming out. I think they just they got that quarterback they needed. They still getting some pieces, and yeah. So
I like a lot of what you said. I think if we go back to your Pats for a minute, I agree. I think they're an ascending team. I like Mac Jones. From an NFL perspective, I actually like him probably best of the rookies. I think he's the most complete passer. I think he's got the best in terms of pocket presence and calmness, and he's got
the best giddy out of all of the rookie QBs too.
I think for him, he can play within the system, and that's going to matter so much because we know that system can be successful.
Absolutely.
I think your team contends for a wild card spot, and if they could get in, even if they get hammered in the first round, just to get that one game of experience is going to be so good for next year, and so big for him and those other pieces. So I'm excited for the Patriots. I think they've got a shot to get a wild card spot. And then you for the Bills, I mean, you covered most of it. I think, like you said, Josh Allen's a stud. I'm super excited about James Cook. I can't wait to see kind of what happens there. Zach Moss is pretty much written off. They say in the preseason, oh, he's got some snaps and stuff. It's like, yeah, but this team didn't even use him down the stretch. They drafted a new person. Like they don't want to play him.
That last year, that was probably one of the most infuriating starts to the season, where I believe like Singletary was inactive week 1 or something. Moss was the lead guy. And then within like 3 weeks, it was flip-flopped, and Moss was inactive. Singletary is the lead back. And it's like, what is going on? And so, yeah, we covered it. Hopefully they just kind of swing to just passing the ball just more, even involving the running backs, but just in more out in space. And James Cook, I am excited if he can gain, like even a relatively consistent part-time role, getting these high value targets and touches, like that's exciting.
Yeah.
The
and
weapon he hasn't
guy
had.
You didn't cover there in the receiver core was Jamison Crowder, who's the other guy that's competing for that slot role, who really fits that Cole Beasley mold of like a veteran who's good on third down and reliable. So it'll be interesting to see, like you said, can McKenzie come through? Is Shakir going to come in as a rookie, which is not typical, although we've seen some rookies step up. But I mean, we're talking guys like Waddle and Jefferson and Chase. These are
elite,
supreme talents, right? This is not the norm. These are the guys who are the exception. So yeah, I'm really curious to see there, can McKenzie or Crowder cement that role? Do they end up sharing it, or how does that play out?
Yeah, I mean, I was like very excited about the Crowder pickup when it happened, and then obviously all the buzz. Well, he's been injured, and then all the buzz is McKenzie, and they draft Shakir, who is an exciting guy. I like that pickup as well, and so it'll be interesting to see if any of them does get that full time. Just he's the slot guy. Because right now I kind of just have to project like they're all kind of going to see some time out there, and unless one of them really cements and like just pulls himself apart from that group, I think that's kind of what most people are going to go into unless they really have a strong take on one of the three.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. That's kind of where I'm at as well. I think they're just going to eat into each other's workload, and until one of them can win the job, we're just going to be focusing on Davis and Diggs. And I'm a huge Davis fan. You outlined some of it.
I know who I'm stealing from you in fantasy.
That's right.
Got his name underlined.
He's one of my men. So, he's like you said, he's got all the metrics. All he's ever missed is volume, and that's really what he's been missing from his career and why he's finished so low. So if he could get a steady level of volume, then the ceiling is the limit here. Anything else to add there, A-Aron, on anything we covered?
Oh yeah, just so much more. No, that was perfect. Not even try.
And I'll say the Rams, man. It's the Rams. I was gonna go with the Rams. I was really like, but I'm like, can they get back again? Like Stafford's got this elbow thing, but he's probably
that really scares me.
But he's like probably the toughest guy in all of football. Like so he's probably gonna play through it and be great. But they lose, Robert Woods, but then they bring in Allen Robinson, and then they lose Von Miller, who, like you said, is obviously one of my favorite players to watch. And I think could, if the MVP had a defensive MVP award, he might have got it. But so I mean, they lost some pieces. Van Jefferson's hurt, which is, not huge, but I feel like they're worse this year than they were last year. And so I'm just a little concerned about that.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like, I would have gone with either them or the Bucks, basically, and just like it's like either way, you could see either of them getting there again, and whatever. I'm just calling my shot that it's Josh's time, and the Bills finally get a little bit, and it's like obviously I think the coach obviously is a big factor too. Sean McDermott obviously getting this experience and really making a name for himself as just being a great guy and great coach. And like the players really seem to like him. And so I think that's obviously a huge factor, and we'll see if they can make that run. I think it really is kind of like Super Bowl or bust for them though. It's like I think that's their expectation. It's not like their hope or their dream. Like that's like they're expecting it at this point. Like they see these heartbreaking losses and they see these other teams and they know they're as good as these teams. And now they've built up that defense a little bit. And obviously the offense is super powered. And so I'm excited. I'm just getting so giddy for the football season.
They're ready up in Buffalo too, because we hear it all the time up here where we're.
Oh yeah, and honestly, I mean, no logical person could say that they wouldn't have won that game if they didn't win the coin toss, right? Like
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
that game was just going to keep touchdowns back and forth until somebody made it stop. Like that was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anything else before we battle against each other here, A-Aron, and see if we can tackle some trivia?
Let's do it.
All right. So, like I said, I got a few questions that are let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 quick questions that are just like where you guys can go head to head, and then I got one where there's a bunch of answers, and I'll see if you can make that a competition either way, but I was gonna let you guys see if you can tag team it or whatever it is and whatnot. But we'll leave that one for the end. So we'll start off with this one. So we're talking about most passing yards in a Super Bowl game, right? We got number 1 and 2. Who do you think? This isn't the question. I'm just saying it's like the most obvious thing of all time. It's Brady.
Yeah,
and then Kurt Warner is number 3, 4, and 6 on the list.
Wow.
In most passing yards in a Super Bowl game. So who is number 5? And I will say the hint is like it's not like some dude from the 50s or whatever. Like, well, obviously it's past the merger, 66 or whatever, but it's not some dude from the 70s or whatever. Like, this is a guy that is recent for sure. I won't say if he still plays or not, but recent years.
I got a thought, but I'll
let you guys, you can get like 1 each, 2 guesses each, whatever you want to do. I'm curious at what your thoughts would be with that hint, at least.
Yeah.
I got it. Yeah. I don't know though if they. Oof.
You wanna take your shot first?
Yeah,
or you want me to go first?
I'll go with the obvious guy. I think it's Ben Roethlisberger.
Oh, you bugger! That's what I was thinking.
That's who you're thinking. Well, you were both off. Both off. How about one more? I'll give you one more shot each.
All right.
And I'll blow your mind.
Most passing yards in a game. It's gonna be someone interesting.
No, it can't be. I can't think it's Manning. Only because that one.
No, not Manning. Not Manning. It's a good guess though, for sure. You got to think about guys that were in there, and then the guys that maybe only in there once.
I'll go with a rival of Big Ben's, and I'm gonna take a shot at Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco? No, that's a good one too.
Eli
so it was
Manning?
actually the most recent heartbreaking Super Bowl loss for the Patriots, Mr. Nicholas.
That game that had like almost 1,000 yards passing.
373 yards. That puts him in 5th most Super Bowl passing yards all time.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a fun one where it's, one. Brady, Warner, Foles, Warner.
One of these things is not like
exactly. It's that meme. It's like no. So all right, we got all right. A little homer question for myself. We got the Patriots have been in 11 Super Bowls. What is their record in those 11 Super Bowls?
Oh,
all right. So,
6 and.
Aaron says 6 and 5.
Yeah. 6.
All right.
My math is horrible. I apologize. I should have. 6.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I'm trying to think. Did Brady? Yeah, Brady won 6 and then went to Tampa, and I don't think they won before that. So I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to say 6 and 5.
You got it. 6
Yeah.
and 5. You both nailed it. All right. So, who is the only other team with as many losses in the Super Bowl?
Ooh. This,
So 5. There's only one other team that has been to or has lost in the Super Bowl 5 times. It's the Patriots, and it's one other team. And who is it?
oh man.
See, the obvious answer to me would be the Bills, but
That's
they
what I was
didn't make
thinking.
5, though, right? They didn't
Yeah,
make
I
5.
don't think so.
Oh,
I don't think they made
They
it to
actually,
5.
yeah, they
made-
made it to like 4 AFC championships in a row or
Okay.
something back in the
Yeah.
90s, early 2000s or something like that. But no, it's not the Bills.
I would go with Green Bay.
Green Bay, also a good guess, but no.
Ah.
Josh,
Alright.
what are you thinking? You get 2 as well. You get 2 as well. Everybody gets 2.
Thinking the 49ers.
Good guess. Not our team.
Oh,
All right, who else has been and lost a few times? I know they've got the 1, 2. I can think of 2 for sure. 5's a lot though.
5 is a lot. I was surprised. I was like, well, if you're going to 11, it makes sense. You've lost 5. That's
Yeah,
fine. You've won
sure.
6. But then this other team, it's like, oh, you definitely haven't been to 11, but you've lost
No.
5 of the however many, I forget.
All right, I'll say I'm debating here. I'll go with the Seahawks.
Seahawks, not it. You're gonna kick yourself. Look at that flag behind you.
I know. I didn't want to go there. I know they lost
All right,
one.
how about a redemption shot? How many wins do they have then?
1, 2, 3. I don't think they won before Elway. So 3 for sure, but I'll stick with 3.
Good. You
Yeah.
got it. All right, redemption. You don't have to know. You don't care. You erase those losses from the memory. You remember the
right.
wins. You're 3 and 5. That's not bad. That's still not bad. So I thought that was a fun one. Our team's kind of going head to head. We got the 5 losses in Super Bowl history.
There you go.
All right, so now I'm going to kind of more similar to my questions from the Jeopardy, where I'll give you a couple names and you guys got to take your shot at which one is whichever leader. So we're going to the most recent Super Bowl now. We're going to the Bengals-Rams game. Who had the most rushing yards in the last Super Bowl? Was it Sony Michel, Matt Stafford, Jamar Chase, or Joe Burrow?
God.
All right. So Sony Michel, Jamar Chase, Matt Stafford, Joe Burrow.
I think it was. Do you want me to go first or you go first?
Whatever you want, man.
You go first.
Yeah. It's funny. If you would have said Debo, I would have been tempted. So I'm kind of glad you didn't have him on the list because I was like, God, did Debo get this one too?
No, this is only in the Super Bowl game. Only in the Super Bowl game. So
yeah. Okay. I mean, Chase did he have that big rush? That's tempting. I'm gonna take a shot on Burrow.
Burrow, yep. And Aaron?
I'm going with the other quarterback, Stafford.
Aaron saw through me. I picked the statue that got 6 rushing yards. but Chase only had 4, Michelle 2, Burrow 3.
Wow.
That's crazy.
All right. Here's another fun one. All right. We got. Actually, this could go either way. I don't know which one. We'll go least and most. All right, least and most out of 4 names. Least and most receiving yards out of these 4 names. We got Ben Skowronek. We got Cam Akers. We got Mike Thomas. And then we have CJ Uzoma. Who had the most yards? Who had the least yards receiving in the Super Bowl of those guys? And spoiler alert, none of them had 0.
Yeah. I'll go first because Aaron went first last time.
Okay.
I remember Skronik coming in and having some big plays, so I'll take a shot
Okay.
that he had the most. And
Okay.
I know Akers was in there, but I don't really remember him doing too well. So I'm going to say Akers is the least.
Okay. So Skronik top or most, Akers least. What are we thinking?
What's the names again? It's
So we got Ben Skronik, Cam Akers, Mike Thomas, and CJ Uzoma.
It's a fun
I'm
one.
gonna
Great
go
name.
with Thomas had the least,
Okay.
and Akers had the most.
And Akers had the most. All right. Well, neither of you got any of them right. And that's what this question will do. So Mike Thomas, with his 117-yard catch, had the most receiving yards out of all those
brutal.
players, which is pretty surprising. I also remembered Skronik getting at least
after OBJ
catches
went
or
down.
something, right? Exactly. And then surprisingly, CJ Uzoma had the least out of that group.
Wow.
And so Skronik and Akers were the two middle guys. All right, now we're moving on. We're moving on to not the Super Bowl game or stats itself, but the players involved in the Super Bowl and their weekly finishes. All right. So we're going, the first one is, who had more top 12 finishes at quarterback during the season, right? So Burrow or Stafford?
Oh, so I'll go first this time.
Whatever
Yeah,
you
you
want,
can
man.
go first. Josh will either agree or disagree.
I'd say Burrow.
Burrow and Josh?
I think it was Stafford because Burrow started out slow with the injury. And Stafford wasn't ever great, but he was consistent.
You got it. You got it. It was Burrow had 9 top 12 finishes. Stafford had 11.
Wow.
There you go.
So
It's very consistent.
But the thing is, Burrow did have, I believe, 2 or 3 number 1 overall finishes.
Yeah.
So those, that you have those in your brain. It's like, oh, he must have done really well. It's like, so it was a little tricky, right?
It was.
All right. Moving on. We got our wide receivers. Who had more top 5 finishes at wide receiver? Was it Cooper Kupp or was it Jamar Chase and T. Higgins put together?
Ooh.
Wild
card.
Right?
Kupp had several, but
What do we think?
I think I'll. Is the combo trickery? Is it to allure us to the combo when Kupp?
You never know with
I'm
me.
getting in your psyche, man.
Yes, the reverse psychology now.
Yeah. Top 5, man. Yeah, all right. Give me the Bengals duo. I'll take the rest.
Bengals duo. What do we think, Aaron?
Yeah, I gotta agree. I know Higgins had a couple, so yeah, I gotta agree.
Bengals duo. I got you both.
I knew it.
Kupp had 7, and Jamar and T each had 3.
Oh, so close.
Just shows how incredibly
Crazy.
awesome Cooper Kupp was last year. It's like, that's crazy, right? Like, because I was looking, I was trying to pair up just wide receiver, and then I was like, well, Kupp has double Jamar. Oh, he has double T. I was like, all right, I'll add them together. And sure enough, it's like, you look at that, you hear that, you're like, Jamar and T? There's no way they didn't both together put up less. And of course, Cooper Kupp was that good last year, and we'll see how it goes. All right, we got another top finishes at wide receiver. We're going top 12 now with the secondary and tertiary pieces. So who had the most top 12 finishes at wide receiver? Robert Woods, Van Jefferson, Tyler Boyd, or OBJ?
Ooh.
Right? All of them played, at least half the season, even in Woods' case. OBJ was hurt, and Van, I think, missed a little time, but all of them were, secondary, third option, and all saw a good amount of targets, good amount of, they were in like the 30s, 40s in terms of total finish. So I think I thought this one was pretty solid as well.
Good one. You want me to go first? You want to go first, Aaron?
So who had the most?
So most top 12. Top 12. We got Woods, Van Jefferson, Tyler Boyd, OBJ.
I gotta go with. I gotta go Woods.
Woods. All right.
I'm tempted.
What do we think?
By OBJ's finish at the end, but I think I'm going to go Tyler Boyd.
Tyler Boyd. Aaron, you nailed it.
Oh.
Woods played 9 games, 6 or more less than anyone else on that list, and he put up 3 top 12 finishes. Van Jefferson had 1. Boyd and OBJ both had 2 each.
Well done, Aaron.
Very interesting. All right. So we move on to the last one in the same category. I thought this one was I wanted to do tight ends, but I at least wanted to make it a little bit harder. So we're going most tight end 1, top scoring tight end on the week finishes on the year. We got our we got Dawson Knox, Tyler Higbee, Kyle Pitts, Mike Gesicki, and Dallas Goedert.
Ooh.
Threw in a bunch of names. Make it a little bit hard for the last one that you're competing.
That's tough. Oh my gosh.
There's a lot of good names on there. So again, we got Goddard, Gesicki, Pitts, Higbee, Knox.
You go first, Josh?
Sure. All right. Goddard, Gesicki, Pitts. Man. I'm going to rule out Gesicki. Knox, Pitts. Knox had the touchdowns. Pitts had the yardage. I feel like Pitts' yardage would probably be enough to crack that mark. So I'll go Pitts.
Pitts? What do we think, Aaron?
I was thinking it was either Gesicki or Higbee.
Okay.
I'm going to go Higbee.
What do we think?
I'm going
Higbee?
Yeah.
You got it. You got it. None of those tight ends had any top or any tight end 1 finishes except for Tyler Higbee.
Wow.
Which I will say this one was a little tricky. It was in week 18.
Oh man.
But kind of crazy, honestly, that none of those, like Pitts, I thought at least 1 week where he had 100 and plus yards, whatever. And like, obviously Gesicki had a couple big weeks as well. Yeah. Goddard was kind of consistent, better when Ertz left. And then Knox, like you said, those touchdowns. So I was surprised none of them ever led the position in the weekly finish, but Higbee somehow did in the last week of the season. But that game did matter.
Probably a testament to Andrews and Kelsey and how good they were.
Yeah, that's true. They did like hold it down. You know, Gronk had a couple. I'm blanking on who else, but all right. We come to our last question. So this one you can kind of do as like a team thing, I thought. So sure. Bringing it back to the Super Bowl, there are 12 teams that have never won the Super Bowl. Ooh. Can you knock those 12 down?
All right.
Or out?
That have never won the Super Bowl.
That have never won the Super Bowl. There's 12 teams that have never won the Super Bowl.
You got the board beside you to look at all the teams. Where's my board? It's in the other corner.
You started.
I know Buffalo is one of them.
Yep. Buffalo is indeed one.
Okay.
That's one of them. All right, Josh, you got one then?
Yeah, let's throw one up that's on my mind. Yeah. Vikings?
Vikings are another one.
All right.
All right, back to you, Aaron.
Bengals.
We'll go back and forth. What did you say?
The Bengals?
The Bengals, correct. They just made it, obviously, but have not won.
Okay.
Throwing it back to you. Oh yeah, keeping them in track. Yeah.
Trying to keep track, like how the heck.
Tracking them. No, it's smart. It's smart.
Yeah.
But 12, it's almost,
12's a lot,
third,
yeah.
more than a third of the league. So
Did they ever win one? I know they did. I'm trying to go through the division in my head. Houston, Texans.
Houston, indeed, one of them.
All right.
All right, back to Aaron.
Yeah, I'll stay in that division and just go with Jacksonville because we know Jacksonville's never won a Super Bowl. They just had
Absolutely
the Hall of Fame. So I mean, that
Yep,
was huge.
you got it. Jacksonville as well. Back to you. You got 5. No wrong guesses so far. 5 out of the 12. Pretty solid.
Trying to run through. They have. They have. I'll go the Cardinals.
Cardinals nailed another one. There's half of them.
All right, Aaron, we're halfway there, man. Bon Jovi.
Yeah. I gotta say,
It's getting trickier now.
Tennessee Titans.
Titans. There's 7. 7
You
for
know
7
them.
so far. I like it.
The whole division.
All
All
right.
right. Colts, eh?
Yep. Exactly. All right, we still got 5 more. 5 more.
So I'll just throw that up, and then the Titans on top of that. Okay. Oh,
I'd say, yeah.
Chargers.
You got it. I was just about to say there's probably 2 obvious ones and 3 lesser obvious ones, but you got one of the lesser obvious ones, I'd say. Just because they've been better recently too, so
Yeah.
it's like you kind of forget that they never won a Super Bowl. All right, we got 7, right? Yep, we got 7.
No, 8, right? Titans
8.
and Chargers.
You're right. 8. 4 more.
Titans.
Here's one that I think I don't think they've ever won, and I think it would be a bit surprising, is the Cleveland Browns.
Cleveland Browns. I thought that was an obvious one just because
Yeah.
they've been known as like a just garbage franchise for so long at this point.
I went there and I was thinking the Browns, and then I was like, wait, but did they ever win one with like Jim Brown?
No,
They
they
I was
never
like,
won.
no.
They've never won
AFL.
anything.
They won the AFL when it was just the AFL. And it
Yeah. So this is like post, I think 66 merger, whatever it was. So
you know
yep,
what?
the Browns got it. 3 more left.
I know Marino made it, but I know he never got one, so I'll try the Dolphins.
No, they
Dolphins have won
the
Super
record,
Bowl.
the 85 Dolphins.
Yeah.
Why I didn't go with that.
It's a
I was
perfect
like,
team, Josh.
why did I pass on them? Oh yeah, that's why I passed on them. Damn it.
Ooh.
Okay.
All right, we got 3 more.
Here's
Say
one.
one's. Mm-hmm.
Here's one that would surprise me too, but they haven't been great either. But they've been around forever. It's Detroit. The Lions.
You got it. I thought that was the other obvious. I thought the Lions and the Browns when you hadn't gotten them.
Yeah.
I had those 4, right? Lions, Browns, Jaguars, Texans. I have those 4 at the top of my list because specifically they've also never made it to the Super Bowl. So 4 of the 12 teams have never even made it to the Super Bowl, but 8 of the 12 have, but just lost. So you've gotten all 4 that have never even made it. You got 2 more that have at least made it, but never won.
Okay, we're going division time here.
And I will say, it is a relatively recent.
Oh,
It's not a 50s or 70s
Yeah.
Super Bowl or whatnot. Did you say a name?
you got it, Josh?
You got one in mind?
I got the Falcons.
You got it.
It's a good one. as well.
Falcons. All right, we got one last one. Can we nail it?
Ooh.
We got only one wrong guess. That's pretty good. If we can go 12 for 13.
Yeah, that's a poor guess on my part with the Dolphins. I was thinking of the first. I was like, oh yeah, they held the perfect season, right?
Wait, yeah. Whoa. He just said the Falcons, and then you put the other one on.
I was gonna guess that.
That's it. You got it.
I
was so confused.
Division.
I was like, wait.
It was on my brain as I was typing.
Yep. No, so you got it. So 12 of 13. Well done, gentlemen. Well done.
There we go.
So 12 teams never won a Super Bowl. You got them all. So good stuff.
That was good.
I thought that was a fun way to end it. Just talking about how, hey, what teams do you not see on that list? I don't see the Broncos. I don't see the Raiders, and I don't see the Patriots. Let's go, fellas.
Love it. All right. Well, there you go. Those 12 teams will be battling this year, but I think other than maybe the Chargers and
Bills,
Bengals, maybe Cardinals. You know, you got 4 that maybe have a shot, but probably really more like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Come on, Jags.
Go
Trevor
Texans.
Lawrence? Yeah.
Oh, goodness. All
right. Well, thanks, man. That was good times.
Yeah, that was fun.
If you're looking to find us, as I said off the top, GibsonFantasyFootball.com, Gibson_FF on Twitter, Gibson Fantasy Football, all one word, on Instagram, YouTube, Podbean, and Spotify. Conan, my man, thanks for coming on, man. That was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And Aaron, congratulations on destroying me in the trivia.
Yeah, you guys 1-1 now. So next time we'll have a nice rubber match. We'll keep it going.
Yeah.
That's right.
But
we'll get one going when the season's already started, and we can have some fun in-season stats.
Absolutely. But always a pleasure. And thank you for having me on and letting me talk and, toot the Pats horn, but also kind of hate myself for talking up a division rival. And, we'll see how those picks go, all of our teams. Hopefully all of them do well this year. Obviously you guys have some big changes in your orgs, and I'm rooting for them. So I'm excited. We're all way too excited for football to come back.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Love it. All right. Well, thanks to everybody for jumping in here. This was a fun time, as always.
Absolutely.
Clear eyes,